Please be seated. The court is now in session. For today's proceeding, as the Chamber informed the parties and the public on last week, we will hear the testimony of the witness TCW 320 today. Before the witness is invited to enter the courtroom, the greffier, could you report the attendance of the parties and individuals to the proceeding today? Greffier, Mr. President, for today's proceeding, that is the 1st of October 2012, all parties are present except the accused Insari, who is absent due to his health issue. Based on his letter of waiver, document E229, the accused requests to waive his direct presence of hearing the testimony of TCW 320, who will be heard this morning. This witness is present and ready to be called by the Chamber. The witness confirmed through his best knowledge he has no relation by blood or by law to any of the three accused or any of the civil parties who have been recognized in this case. The witness already took an oath this morning. Mr. President, please be also informed that there is no reserved witness at this moment. President, thank you. The Chamber received a letter of waiver from the accused Insari dated 18 September 2012 through his counsel to waive his presence of 7 witnesses and 1 civil party, and TCW 320 is one of the 7 witnesses. According to the medical report dated 28 September 2012, which is the latest report, it confirms that Mr. Insari is being treated at the emergency department at that hospital, and as he requests to waive his direct presence to hear this witness due to his health issue, that he has been treated at the hospital, but that he is mentally fit, the Chamber grants the request made by Insari to hear the witness TCW 320 so that the hearing of this witness will be heard without the presence of the accused. That is also pursuant to Internal Rule 84.5, which states due to his the health condition or other serious circumstance, the accused can waive his presence in hearing the witness, and that the Chamber can proceed of hearing such a witness without the presence of the accused. Court officer, could you invite the witness TCW 323 into the courtroom? President, good morning, Mr. Witness. What is your name? Witness, my name is Kieu Ain. Thank you. Questions, besides Kieu Ain, do you use other names or alias, especially during the revolutionary period from 75 to 79? You need to wait until you see the red light on the microphone. Response. I do not have any other name. That is my birth name, and I use that name as well during the revolutionary period. Question, how old are you? Response. I was born in 1958. Question, can you tell the chamber of your current address? Response. I am living in Pai Lin, in Wat Village, Songkat Pai Lin City. Question, what is your current occupation? Response. I am a civil servant. Question, what is your father's name? Response. My father's name is Kieu On, and my mother's is Kum Kon. Thank you. Question, what is your wife's name? Response. My wife's name is Kun Jan Thi. Question, how many children do you have? Response. I have 5 children. Thank you. Mr. Kieu-en, as reported by the greffier, to your best knowledge, you do not have any relation by blood or by law through any of the civil parties in this case, nor any of the 3 accused in this case, namely Nun Chia, Ieng Sari, and Kia Sampon. Is that information correct? Response. Yes, that is correct. I do not have any relation with any of them. Question. Also, as reported by the greffier, you already took an oath this morning before you enter this courtroom. Is that correct? Response. Yes, that is correct. I did that already. We would like to inform you of your right and obligations as a witness testifying before this chamber. Mr. Kieu-en, as a witness to the proceedings before this chamber, you may refuse to respond to any question or make any comment that could incriminate you. That is your right against self-incrimination, meaning if your response or any of your comment would incriminate you, you may refuse to do so. As a witness, it is your obligation to respond to all the questions put to you by the chamber or any of the civil parties, except in the case that you believed your response may incriminate you, as I just stated. And also, as a witness, you must tell only the truth that you have learned, have known, have remembered, or have experienced, or have observed directly any of the events concerned in the question put to you by any other parties or the chamber. Do you understand your right and obligations before this chamber? Response. Yes, I understand what you have just said, Mr. President. Thank you. And Mr. Kill-End, had you been interviewed by the investigators of the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges? If so, how many times, where, and when? Response. I gave an interview to the ECCC staff once in Thailand at Chamka Cafe. However, I cannot recall the date. I cannot really recall the exact date of the interview. President, thank you. And before you came to testify today, have you read, reviewed, or listened to the record of interviews being read to you? That is regarding the record of the interview you provided at the Chamka Cafe in Thailand in order to refresh your memory? Response. The written record of the interview, some of its content I can recall, but I cannot recall all the details in that interview. But upon reading the document, I refreshed some of my memories. And of course, I confirmed my statement in that written record of interview. Question: according to your best recollection, the written record of the interview that you have read in order to refresh your memory, does it reflect the consistencies of what you provided in Chamka Cafe at Thailand to the investigators of the OCIJ? Response. In some parts, I agree to the content, and in other parts, since I did not witness it myself, so I cannot give details on those events. Thank you, witness. The prosecution, you are reminded that for the time allocation and the priority is given to the prosecution first to question this witness. The prosecution and the lead co-lawyers will have a one-day allocation to question this witness. You may proceed. Sain Bun Kien. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honors. Good morning, everyone in and around the courtroom. And good morning, Mr. Kiel-Ain. Mr. Kiel-Ain, I have some questions for you regarding the events that you can recall, that is, those events occurred in the Democratic Cambodia regime. In your written record of interview with the investigator of the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges, that is in document E3/438 at ERN in Khmer 00 373430, and in English 0037. Let me repeat: 00375871 and in French 00426438. You state in that statement that you joined the Khmer Rouge revolutionary movement in 1973, and later on you became a commune militiaman, which was a reserve force, and that was between 73 to 75. Could you tell the chamber that during the time that you was a commune militiaman and as part of a reserve force, where were you located? Response. Mr. President, allow me to respond to this question. I initially joined the DK movement, but that DK was named later on. It was then known as the Revolutionary Movement, and I joined it in 1973. At that time, my village was attacked, houses were burned down. So the revolutionary force wanted the youth to join the revolution. And as I stated in my interview, I did not want to join. However, due to the compelling situation and I did not know where to go, and as the house was burnt down, I joined the revolution. Some joined the military, but as I did not want to join the military, so I was asked to join the commune militia. And if the district required our force, then we would be sent from the commune to the district. I did not play any role as a militiaman in the commune. I guarded the village and the commune. Thank you. Question. You just stated that you became a militiaman and sooner you would become a soldier. The question is, what kind of soldier and where did you belong, or whom did you belong to? Response. Regarding the date of my becoming a soldier from the militiaman, I cannot recall, because at that time when the district needed our force, then instruction would be sent to the commune, and the commune would send us to the district. So I cannot recall the exact time that I became a soldier. Thank you. Question. Can you tell the chamber when you became a soldier, to which unit were you attached to? Response. When I left the commune to the district, sometimes we were also known as the district militia, but we were actually the district soldiers. At that time, The district was known as Kampong Leng. I stayed at that district until the 17th April. Thank you. Question. While you were at the district of Kampong Leng as a soldier, were you subordinate to any of other units or division? Response. In each district, as far as I could understand, usually each district would have soldiers for its respective districts to provide the protection. As for a province, at that time it was known as a sector. Whenever needed, a sector would send instruction to the district for the force, and the district would relay such instruction to the commune if required. At that time, I was part of a battalion in the district. Thank you. Again, in your written record or interview, that is document E3/438, your native village was at Praiki and Kampong Leng district of Kampong Chnang province. Can you tell the chamber the distance from your native village to Udong? Response. I do not really understand your question. Do you want to know the distance between my village and Udong? Question. I want to know the distance between your native village to Udong. What is the distance? How many kilometers? Response. I do not know the distance between my native village and Udong. Thank you. Again, in your written record of interview with the investigators of the OCIJ, that is document E3/438, at the Khmer EAN 00373431, and in English 00375872, and in French 00426478. You stated that the situation at the time in the village, it was a mixture of forces of the revolutionary force and the Lone Nol force, and there was the fighting between these two forces. The question is, can you recall the fighting between these two causes? When did it take place?
Response. When the fighting between Lone Nol and the revolutionary forces broke out, I do not recall the exact date, but it was sometime in 1973 when the American troops withdrew the air forces from Cambodia, and it was at the time that Lon Nol soldiers had to withdraw from that area as well. Question. Were you ever sent to the battlefield against Lon Nol soldiers? Response. Yes, I used to be involved in the battlefields against Lon Nol in my home village in Kampong Leng district. Question. When you were fighting in the battlefield against Lon Nol soldier, did your force capture any Lon Nol soldiers? And if so, what did you do to them? Response. When the battlefield was going on, I did not notice that there were captures of Lon Nol soldiers. There were fighting going on at the times, but I did not know whether or not there were arrests or captures of Lon Nol soldiers. Question. How about on the 17th of April 1975? Where did you live then? Response. On the 17th of April 1975, it was known as the Victory Day of the Khmer Rouge. I live somewhere along the riverbank in Kampong Leng district. I was in the preparatory force. We were on alert at all time because at that time the fighting was looming. We heard from the people that we had conquered the war, but at that time I had to be on alert, even if we learned the news that we had already conquered the war. Question. So, when you were living in Kampong Leng district, did you ever hear anything of the evacuation of people out of Phnom Penh? And if you did hear about it, when was it? Response. I heard of it, but I did not witness the movement itself. And I also saw the newcomers coming in my village as well. And I learned from others that those people were evacuated from the provincial town to my district. Question. In your home village, where you witness the newcomers from the provincial town to your district, did you see any other newcomers from Phnom Penh? Response. No, I did not witness them. I only saw people evacuated from the provincial town, but I did not know whether there were other newcomers from other places. Question. Can you tell the court the overall situation of the evacuation and relocation of new people in your home district? Response. As far as the evacuation was concerned, I did not know the arrangement, but I only witnessed that there were newcomers, but I knew that there were no newcomers from Phnom Penh. I was not the one in charge of evacuating people out of the provincial towns, but I was in charge of coordinating people who came in the district. Question. Who ordered you to facilitate the evacuation of people from provincial town into your district? Do you recall that? The President. Witness, please wait until the mic is activated, otherwise your voice will not get through the sound system. It's a witness. If I recall it correctly, it must have been my supervisors, the supervisors of my team who ordered me to facilitate the relocation of the evacuees to our district. Question. Do you recall the leaders of your squad or team? What did he order you specifically? Do you recall that? I can only recall some of the events back then. He ordered that we incorporated the new forces into the commune forces, and he also instructed that the commune forces accepted those new forces. That's what I can recall. And then later on, those people were made to build dike or dams. Question. When you were facilitating the newcomers into the commune, did they incorporate them into the commune cooperatives? Response. Yes, there were cooperatives in the communes, so those new evacuees were admitted to those cooperatives. Question. In relation to the new evacuees to your home village, did you know whether or not those evacuees were required to write their own biographies? Response. That I did not know. It could have been the task of the commune. I did not know what they did with the biographies of the evacuees. Question. So now I would like to move on to the next topic in relation to your biography prepared after 17 of April 1975. Document E3/438 EN in Khmer 00373431 and English EN 00375872, French 00426429. You told the investigators that you were trained to be the telegram writer in late 1975 or early 1976. Can you tell the court when you were transferred to work in Phnom Penh? Response. I was transferred from the province into Phnom Penh. I do not recall the exact date, but when I first transferred to Phnom Penh, my location was somewhere near the Royal Palace, and it was sometime during the late rainy season. And when I was transferred there, I stayed there for about half an hour, and then later on I was designated to work in other places as I reported in my interview. Question. So when you were transferred to work somewhere near the Royal Palace for half an hour, what were you supposed to do then? Response. To my recollection, when I was there, I was not given any task. I was simply waiting as to where I would be eventually designated. I did not know what I was supposed to be assigned to. Question. So when you were waiting over there, did you know who the leader of that place was? Response. I'm afraid I cannot recall it. I cannot recall the name of the leader, and neither can I recall the name of that office or that place. I was new to Phnom Penh at that time, so when I was first placed in that venue, I did not recall the name. Question. Do you still recall the name of the person who supervised that place? If you cannot recall the names of the place. Response. No, I'm afraid not, because I was a new person to that place, so I did not know who was the leader of that place. Question. And later on, you were sent to work in the Ministry of Propaganda. Did you know who designated you to work in this ministry? Response. That I do not know. At that time, they took me with a motorbike, and they told me that I had to go to work with a man by the name of Poa.
បាទអរគុណតើលោកអាចបញ្ជាក់
Question. Do you know the full names of Brother Poa?
កាលនោះ
At that time, I did not know who Brother Poa was. I only heard from the person who accompanied me at that time. I asked him where he would take me to, and he told me that I would go and work with Poa. And then he simply dropped me in one office, and then it was the Ministry of Propaganda, and then I stayed there.
ហើយ
Question. Did you know the position Brother Poa held at the time?
ឈ្មោះបកភ័ណ្ឌនេះកាល
I did not know. I stayed there for a few months. I did not know who Poa was because I did not meet him in person. But it was a few months after the time when I arrived there did I learn who he was. Question. So after a few months of your attachment to that ministry, and then you learn who Brother Poa was. Can you tell the court what his full names was and what position he held?
នៅពេលដែល
I kept asking my colleagues working there as to who Brother Poa was. And then actually, my colleagues later on told me that Brother Poa was actually Mr. Hunam. And it was then did I realize that I was working with Hunam.
បាទអរគុណចុះទូនាទីរបស់លោកហ៊ុននំហ្នឹងគាត់
What was Hunam's position really at the time? Response. I only learned from my college that he was the Minister of Propaganda and Information.
បាទអរគុណ
Question. I would like to come back a little bit. When you left your home village, did you know who decided that you had to leave your village and move to Phnom Penh?
បញ្ហាដែលខ្ញុំ
Response. I did not know who ordered that. I did not know who instructed that. I was the only person who was transferred to Phnom Penh. My colleagues in my home village were not transferred to Phnom Penh. I was the only person. Question. You mentioned that someone transferred you to Phnom Penh. Do you know who that someone was?
អ្នកដែលឲ្យខ្ញុំទៅនោះក៏ខ្ញុំ
Response. I did not know my direct supervisor allowed me to leave my home village. But I did not know who was higher up there in the command who ordered me to go to Phnom Penh. Actually, I did not want to separate from my colleagues, but later on I learned that they required me to go. And I did not know the motive behind sending me to Phnom Penh. Question. You say that they required you to leave your home village. I would like to know, my question really is, who ordered that you left your home village? Response. I did not know who was higher in the command who ordered me to go there, but at that time I was working in a company, and he was my direct supervisor who ordered me to leave, and he had 100 soldiers under his command.
តើមេរបស់លោកដែលនៅអនុ
What was the name of your direct superior in the company with which you worked? My direct superior at that time was Pring. He was a man from the same home village as mine. He is deceased.
បាទអរគុណវាលោកអាចបញ្ជាក់បានទេថាឈ្មោះ
Question. Do you recall the name of the company with which you worked? The commander of this company was Pring. I call him Pring. I did not know his full name. Question. No, actually, I would like to know the name of the company, not the name of the commander. What is the name of this company? Response. At that time in the district, there were 3 companies. And the company led by Pring was known as Company 33.
មួយទៀតគឺបើយោងតាមកំណត់ហេតុ
Question. According to the record of interview, document E3/438, Khmer ERN 00373431, English 00375872, and French 00426429. You told the investigator of the OCIJ that you worked in Office Case 3 in the Ministry of Propaganda and Information. Can you tell the court where this office was located? Response. Well, I don't think that is the correct summary of where I worked, because I worked with K33. It was not in K3. It was when I was living in the district, and then later on I remained in K33. Prosecutor, yes, let me correct myself. It was in office K33, not K3. But can you tell the court where this office was located? Response. Back then, office K33 is located in a block adjacent to Lycée Descartes. It was in front of the Phra Sakshapmuni Chadai stupa. Question. Do you know how many people worked in office K33? Response. As for the exact number, I do not recall. I only knew the number of people working in my section. Question. As for the leader of Office 33, who was he or she? Do you recall his name? Response. The leader of Office K33, when I first came to this office, was Som. Question. In your record of interview with the investigator of the OCIJ, document E3/438, the relevant year and page, 0 in Khmer 00373431, English 00375872, and French 00426429. You told the investigators that following the training you were designated to work in the office recording the news broadcast from overseas. Do you still recall how many people worked in this section?
Response. Regarding my personal work, allow me to say that the work was divided into 2 or 3 separate parts, and it was since the training time, and during the training I was actually trained in repairing the telegraph, but at the same time I was also intercepting news and information. But allow me to speak only about the work that I did. As I recall, initially there were only 3 of us. And the 4th person was my direct superior. Thank you. The person who was your superior in charge of your section, what was his name? Response. My section superior was All, but I do not know the native name. I only recall that he was known as All. Thank you. Regarding your role and responsibility in intercepting news and information from abroad, what was your detailed duties? Response. Let me give you some examples regarding the way it worked back then. I did not have any leading position there. I was merely a staff working in that section under the supervision of All. So I was working with the machine intercepting news, and we work in shift amongst the 2 or 3 people that I mentioned earlier. And before I engage in that work, we need to learn how to intercept news first. So that's how it started. We were trained there in intercepting news, and later on we trained in repairing the machine. Thank you. Regarding intercepting news or information, what was the limitation or what kind of news or information that you were supposed to intercept? Response. I can recall some. At that time, I could not read the entire content, but the information was related to the economics regarding the beans. For instance, I knew only minor parts of the content. And allow me to explain to you, Mr. President. At that time, we were intercepting news broadcasts by AFP, by Reuters, and UPE and Xinhua. These were the few sources that we intercepted. Thank you. Question. Can you tell the court regarding your work of intercepting news or information, what kind of equipment or machinery used? Response. When I arrived, the machinery was already there. It was already operational. And I was told that the machinery was brought in from an embassy. And actually it was a mixture of various machineries. For example, 1 or 2 machinery pieces were brought from this embassy or that embassy. So there was those machines with the brand Maximum from the East Germany, or some other machinery made in England. And the machine actually worked by itself. We just turn it on. And only when we broadcast out, we need to type. But when we intercepted the news, the machine would type itself. Thank you. Regarding the news or information that you intercepted, and what happened if that news or information is important? Response. Regarding the information or news that we already intercepted within my group, when the machine stopped, I would take the printout to another section. Thank you. The news that you intercepted, what was it broadcast in, or in what language it was? Response. The information that we intercepted was broadcast in French and English. Thank you. At the Propaganda and Information Ministry, was there a translators team? For example, you intercepted the news in French or English, and whether you sent that information to the translation team in order to translate it into Khmer? Response. At that time, I knew there was such a team because the printout that I took, it was in multiple copies, as there were carbon copies as well. So then I stapled them and sent them to another section, and I didn't know whether that section would send it or forwarded it to another section. But of course, there were those who listened to the news broadcast, and then they would verify the printout from my section with the audio that they listened to. Thank you. Next, Mr. President, I seek your permission to put on the screen the relevant document. That is document E3/231, which is the meeting's minute of the meeting. Of the Propaganda and Information Ministry in 1976. President, yes, you may proceed. Thank you, Mr. President. That document in Khmer is 000171262227. In English, 00183362. And in French, 00323931. The title of the document is the UNCA's opinions regarding the monitoring of various news. In that section, UNCA instructed the Ministry of Propaganda to monitor news and to grasp fully of those issues every hour and every day, and then issue it as information for further measure. There were two separate steps for monitoring the news. First, to inform to UNCA on a daily basis as usual, but must have a brief report of main events related to us. And as for other there should be also an ethical opinion for ONCA to take measure. And for 5:15 p.m., there will be a direct messenger from ONCA to go and fetch that information. The question to you is the following. Did you know that the Ministry of Propaganda was instructed by ONCA to send a summary report of important news? Response. I could not recall that because I focused only on the work at hand. I try myself to work hard so others could see me as a good worker. So I could not tell you regarding the affairs of other sections. Thank you. Regarding the second work as indicated in that document, that is for the monitoring of news broadcasts overseas, that for that a special time slot, and if there is any information of a critical nature, then that information shall be relayed immediately to ONCA so measures can be taken. If your section intercepted important news, what were the measures that you needed to take? Response. I did not know much about that process. That was the affairs of other section. I only focused on the work at hand. As for other works, which I was not involved, I did not pay attention to that. Thank you. Question. During the time that you were working there, did you observe if anyone who had a phone or had a means to contact with ONCA? Response. I only wanted to talk about what I saw there. From what I could observe and see, there was no means for anyone to contact with ONCA. And if there was any other news or information that would involve other sections, and it was beyond my capacity to know. Thank you. You told the chamber that you work in shift. So does it mean that there was a night shift as well? Response. Regarding the shift work, there was a night shift as well, and we took shift. And if the work was not yet completed, we would take a small break for dinner and returned. And sometimes, if I had a night shift, I would go and replace that person during the night. Question. Can you recall when a shift started, how many staff were working? Response. I do not really know what you meant in your question. Are you talking about the change in shift? Because as I replied, we took shift. If they work during the day and they had to be relieved for dinner, then I would replace that person. Do you want to know other information regarding the shift? Question. You said that you worked in shift and that there were 3 or 4 staff in your group. So my question is, were you working alone per shift? Response. In fact, there was no need to use more staff. Only one staff could handle the machinery. The exceptional circumstances were that sometimes when we were working in night shift, sometimes 2 people had to work because we try to avoid not to doze off. Question also regarding your work. Was any of your group assigned to monitor and intercept constant news and reported it to the superior? Response. For that, I did not know. Because I only knew and focused on my work. So I could not tell you regarding other organizational or other appointment. Thank you. Let me move on to another subject. The question is the following. Can you recall for how many years did Hunem work as the Minister of Propaganda and Information? Response. I did not know when he became the minister of that ministry. However, he was removed in 1977, and I could not tell you whether it was in early or late 1977. But for sure it was in 1977 when he was removed. But I could not tell you when he was appointed as minister of that ministry. Thank you. Mr. President, with your permission, I'd like to read a portion in a document in order to refresh his memory. The document is document E3/1550, EIN in Khmer 000078. In English, 00242945. It is the document written by Hunem and sent it to Brother Paul, Brother Noon, and Brother Vaughan, Comrade Kiev, and Comrade Haim regarding his own arrest. President, you may proceed. Mr. Witness, can you verify regarding the content of the letter written by Hunem to those various leaders? The content of that document states that today, which is the 10th April 1977, and I was busy in preparing the broadcasting in anticipation of the second anniversary of the victory of 17 April 1975. Via telephone, Brother Pong called me to work with Onka, and when the combatants came to arrest me, I was surprised. I did not anticipate that. The question is whether that statement can refresh your memory regarding the arrest of Hunem in 1977. That is, it was done before the anniversary, the second anniversary of the victory of 17 April 1975. Response. Regarding the arrest of Hunem, and as I stated earlier, I can only recall the year, and I did not know much about his arrest. That is all I can say. I only knew that he disappeared in that year, and I did not know the reason for his disappearance. Thank you. Question. Can you recall how did you learn of his disappearance? Response. I learned it, as I stated in my interview, after Hunem was arrested. Mrs. Junyat came to the office of the ministry. A meeting was convened, and the mistakes of Hunem were shown in that meeting. I did not see that document itself, but the person who came to chair the meeting, talked about the confession of Hunem, and that information was relayed during that meeting and in the subsequent meetings and study sessions. Thank you. Question. Can you tell us regarding the meetings or the study sessions conducted by Mrs. Junyat who replaced Hunem? Did she talk about the reasons of the arrest? What were those reasons, if you can recall, regarding the arrest of Hunem? Response. As I can recall, I only knew that Hunem confessed that he was a CIA agent. That's all I knew. But I did not know in what year did he become a CIA agent or any other detailed information. At that time, we only knew that he was a CIA agent. So that was the reasons that we learned of his arrest. And later on, we just focused on the work at hand. Question. Can you recall when Mrs. Junjat came to tell you the reason for the arrest of Hunam? Who actually attended that meeting? Were there a lot of people? Response. Regarding the hearing of the confession, it was a major study meeting and a lot of people attended that meeting when the confession was revealed. Thank you. Questioned. In that meeting where Mrs. Junjat presented the confession, did she tell the participants of the meeting that who actually assigned her to go there and tell you all about the arrest and the reasons for his arrest? Response. Your question is far beyond my knowledge. I did not know who actually ordered her to come and tell us. So I could not know. That is okay, but my question to you is, during the opening of that meeting or study session, did Mrs. Junjat talk about the person who authorized her to open that meeting and talked about the arrest of Hunam? If you knew, please say so, otherwise we move on. Witness, please wait. Nunchi's counsel, you may proceed. Sonarun. The prosecutor already asked the question and the witness already replied that it was beyond his knowledge, but the prosecutor still insists on asking the same question. This is a repetitious question, and that would lead to a presumption or a conclusion by the witness. The prosecutor, Mr. President, allow me to respond to the objection raised by Sonarun. The reason is that the witness did not respond appropriately to my question. But my question is, at that time, whether Junjat spoke during that meeting. President, the objection and its ground is unfounded. Witness, you are instructed to respond to the last question put to you by the prosecution. Response. I did not know who was or who ordered Mrs. Junjat to open that meeting. Questioned. My question is that during the time that Mrs. Junjat opens the meeting and talked about the arrest of Junjat, did she say anything about who actually instructed her to come down and to open that meeting? Did she say anything closely related to that? Response. Allow me to respond to this question so that you understand. Junjat came to replace him and she spoke about the arrest of Hunam. She spoke to us about that. but I did not know anything as who ordered her to come down to speak to us. But of course, it had to be the decision of the party that this person or that person was a CIA agent. So that with that reason or explanation, we had no further doubt regarding the disappearance of Hunam. Thank you for your response to this question. Can you recall that during the presentation by Mrs. Junjat in that meeting, where was it held?
Response. I can only recall the fact that there was a pronouncement that there was an arrest of the CIA agent. But as for the study sessions, I attended only 2 of them. And as for the venue for the study session, it was held in 2 places. It could have been either in the building adjacent to Lycée Descartes or in the Borikela complex. Those were the 2 venues where the study sessions were held. But I cannot recall whether or not it was held in a building adjacent to Lycée Descartes or in the Borikela complex. The President. Thank you, witness, and thank you, all parties. The time is now appropriate for adjournment. The Chamber will adjourn now until 10:50. Court officer is instructed to coordinate the place for the witness to rest during the adjournment. The court is now adjourned.